Hey, Jamie. Hopefully you can hear me and everything is working okay. We won't have any snafus today. Hey, Catherine. Let's see, maybe that will help. Hey, Heather. Hey, Pam. Yay. It was giving me a little loading issue there, but it finally loaded up there. Hey, Sheila. Hi, Pam. So, got some changes going on. Hey, Gerald. There's Louise. Miss Sue is still on vacation. Sue B is around somewhere, I'm sure. Hey, Dale. Hey, guys. So, some of you are patrons and you already know that I am going to be moving away from Patreon. I mean, I'm still going to do Patreon, so if you're a patron, don't panic. Nothing's going to change for you. But I am moving over to Kofi, which is Kofi. And so if you're new and you want to support me, you won't be able to get on Patreon, but you can support me through Kofi. And you will still get the same files that the patrons get. So nothing will change there. So you guys can decide what you want to do there. If you're a patron and you want to move over, that's perfectly fine. Wait till the first of the month. That way you don't have a double ding. And for those of you who don't like a monthly subscription, Kofi is the way you want to go because you can subscribe one time and you have access to any of the files that I share, like tonight. If you're not a patron supporter but you want tonight's file, you can support me on Kofi one time and you will get tonight's file and any files that I share in the next 30 days. So that helps include everybody, and that's what I'm trying to do, is include everybody. So like I said, if you're a patron, you're not going to see any changes really at all. Everything is going to stay the same for you unless you leave Patreon or delete your pledge or your card gets declined. If it does, you're just simply going to move over to Kofi and still get the same files, exact same files. Nothing will change there. Hey, Miss Kathy. It has been a long time. I hope everything is good on your end. Your grandson is okay, I hope. Everything is okay. Hey, Alexis. So let me play the intro, guys, and we'll go ahead and get started on tonight's project. Okay, so is everybody excited to learn how to create tonight's file, I hope? And I forgot a couple of things about the Patreon I wanted to cover. He had back surgery. Oh, great. That's good to hear. Good to hear. I'm glad he's recovering well. If you need to because I think somebody asked me, they were trying to delete their Patreon and they couldn't find how to do it. If you need to do that, here is the link so that you can go in and cancel your membership on Patreon, but only do that if you're looking to switch over or you need to stop for whatever reason. Somebody had sent me an email and I can't find the email, but that is the link. So if you need it, you can message me and I can get that to you. And if you're thinking about Kofi, let me just show you a little bit about how that one works. Let me get over to the other monitor. Hi, Bonnie. Hi, Susan. And this is what Kofi looks like. Yours will probably look a little bit different because I am a creator. But if you join me on Kofi, you're just going to come in here and, like I said, you can do a one-time pledge and you can get the file that we're working on that night and any files I share for the next 30 days during the lives. You can get those as well. And all you're going to do is, after you've pledged, just come over to post right here at the top. And if you subscribe monthly, you're going to get the monthly password, and then you're going to go over to the site and access those files with that password. And if you're a one-time supporter, you're just going to get the box file that we're doing tonight and whatever I share in the next 30 days. So that helps with you guys. And they are design space files. I do use some access images, so sometimes there might be a fee for that. That's not my fee, that's Cricut. So, and you can tell if it has this little circular arrow, that means it's a monthly subscriber post, and only monthly subscribers can see those. And if it just has a lock, that means that you have to have supported me in the last 30 days to access it. And then you can also access them from the page right here. So if you are looking to do any of that, or don't want to do Patreon, that's fine. This is an alternative for you guys. And I do appreciate everybody and all of your support. So I just wanted to give you a little glimpse into that. And then we have tonight's file. And this is the file that I set up. Now this card, guys, I did not do this card. This card was in Design Space. I just thought it looked really cute to go with this so that you guys could make a card and see that it did fit in the file. Okay, so that's all that is. I did make one and I'll show that to you guys here in just a few minutes. And everybody make sure that you hit that subscribe button. I should have it fixed where it will announce it now when you subscribe. I think that I've got it fixed, hopefully, and everything is working. YouTube finally got my super chat fixed, so if you use that, it should be working now as well. So let's go ahead and move over to the file and learn how to make it. So I'm just going to delete this card, guys, because the file that you have, it's in there. This is my file. It's private. Nobody can open it. So I'm just going to get rid of that and get it out of our way, because I want to show you guys how I created this file. And in case some of you are new and don't know, if you click on your title after you've saved a file, it will show you all the images that are in that project. So you can see that I used a label that was free. It is an access. It is an access label, but I believe it's free. It might be free this week. So you can delete that if you need to change it out. I used the flourish card, a square, which is free for everybody, an octagon, a circle, a hexagon. I used the line for score lines, which are free. I did use this font. If you don't have that font, you don't have access, you can change the font out. All it is the words that are written on the little cards and stuff. So you can pick any font you want to do that with. You can even do something with print and cut. And then I use this flourish right here from Paper Lace. As you can see that it kind of resembles, well, it doesn't kind of, it does resemble the box sides. So in case you guys didn't know that, if you ever need to find out what you used in a project, it is there. It is also in your layers panel. Just right click on it and you can see exactly where it's at. You can click on it and go to it. So, and this goes together really quick, so I'm just going to go over a couple of things and show you guys. These are the divider tabs that go in the box so that you can change these to say thank you, birthday, get well, whatever you want to do in your card file. And I thought a really neat idea would be to make 12 of these, one for each month. And that way you can put your birthdays, thank yous, and get wells in a box for each month for seasons. Because you may not want to send a Christmas thank you card in the middle of April. So you can divide it up and put your thank you, birthdays, and get wells into categories that way and have everything separated by month. So that was the reason behind making this file, so that you guys could organize all of your card making and get it where you could find things. Because I just went through that. I was looking for a card. I'm like, I know I made a birthday card. I needed it for somebody's birthday and I couldn't find it. And I went through about 30 cards before I finally found it. So all this is to create this little label, guys. Now there is one in Design Space. If you want to use theirs and size it, go for it. But I didn't want to pay 99 cents for it because it was not an access image. So all I did was get me a circle, and I unlocked it, and I skewed it, and got it to about the size that I wanted. I duplicated it, and I put them just where they would touch. Just a good bit. I selected them both, aligned to the top, and I went down to the bottom right, and I welded. You can change it, make it any color that you want. I went over and got the score line, and I brought that score line over. And my trick, because you can't really see that gray line, or I can't, I change it to draw so I can look at it and see when I've got it where I want it and the length that I want it. And then I go in and change that back to score just so I can see it. And then I select it and attach. So now I've got my little tabs. These may not be the exact as those, but you can size them up. It's pretty close. Not bad for eyeballing it. So those little labels for these are extremely easy to make. You can make them in squares. You can make a little diamond. You can do several different things. But you just want your to put your fold right there at the center and have it connect. Like if you were doing a diamond, like a diamond ring, you wouldn't want the small point to be connected. So you would want to put the heavy parts together and then overlay them on your card. Not all the way down. I didn't lay mine down that way. I had them stick out just about halfway, and then I folded it over and glued them to it. So very simple and easy to do. A little trick with the text, and I'm not going to go through and typing all the text and taking the time to scrunch it all down. I'm just going to cover it really quick. If you have a cursive font and it's a writing font, you will need to letter space and bring those together and get those proportioned right so that they touch and then attach. Sometimes you may have to go in and ungroup to letters and select them and move them. Hold your shift key down and slide them over and then select them and attach so that you can move them as a group again. Just a little tip there for you guys. So you want to make sure that your cursive, it touches. Then you're going to size your text to fit on your tab. And I'm just going to use the rotate. I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees right there at the top. Right here, you can rotate, make it easier. That way you know it's straight. And then I'm just going to size it down to fit on that oval like I want it. And that looks pretty good to me. But I want it on the other side, so if I turn my box the other way, it's not backwards or upside down or anything. So what I need to do is duplicate it. And then I'm going to flip it horizontal. But when I flip it horizontal, then it's writing backwards. So I've got to flip it also vertical. And now it will read correctly no matter which side of the card I'm looking at. You're just going to select them both, align top, make sure that you've got them somewhat centered. I'm kind of eyeballing at the top of my, that looks pretty good. I'm going to select them both again. Oops. It's pretty hard to grab that little, there we go. Align, and I'm going to align them top, and I'm going to attach the words together. And then I'm just going to align and center. That way they center up on the cards and attach. And now when I write and I fold that over, it reads correctly on both sides. Yay, Susan, good. This will work for you. Give you something to store. Now these are for A2 size cards, guys, but I don't know if you'll be able to get, I don't think you'll be able to get a 5x7 in there. Maybe next week I will sit down and do one and make it a 5x7. But the reason that I didn't, because a lot of us do like 5x7 cards, and I am one of those people. If you look at the width of this box, it is at 11.493. So it's at max cutting capability. So what that means is I will have to create this where it glues together on one side so that we can make a 5x7 out of it. So we're just going to have more pieces. So now you've learned how to create your labels. So I'm just going to get rid of those. Very quick, very easy. Your divider cards. They need to be the height and width of your, or almost the width. You want to give a little play in there. So I know that the card width here is 4.5. So I made this 4.35, and the height I wanted exactly the same, so it is 6.5, and it's just a square. And all you're going to do is insert your shape, your square, and somebody told me that they had been doing all this and they did not know you could unlock this. So you can unlock it and then change your size and get your rectangles. So it would be 4.35 wide by 6.5 tall. And then you're just going to lock it back and change the color to what you want. And you can do as many dividers as you need, but this is kind of tall, so you can only do 2 tabs, so it will look right. You could probably do a third one on the other side, kind of in the middle, but by the time that you get your cards and your envelopes in there, you're probably only going to have room for 2 dividers. So, but you could probably get 3 in there if you want. So that's how you make your dividers. Super simple. I don't know that it will probably go together the exact same way, Susan, except right here you'll have this piece like this. It will look almost just like this, except this part here will be detached like this with a tab on it, and this bottom tab, and then you'll have to place it in there, and then this would only be straight on one side in this. So that would be the only difference. You're just going to glue that tab there, and then it's going to go together the exact same way. So I will do a 5x7 file, but as far as doing a video on it, that's going to be the only difference. You'll have a tab here to glue right here, and then this tab will go together just exactly like the rest of it does for this week. So how did I create this? And I'm just going to ungroup. I'm going to get rid of this guy here because this is just a label, guys. It's in Design Space, and I put words on it. So the first thing I did was I got me some shapes. And I'm just going to get my hexagon. There's my octagon. Okay, so I've got my hexagon, my octagon, and my square. And then I had an image. I had this flourish. So I'm going to go and get that image. And that was off the paper lace. And you can see there's tons of stuff in here, guys, that you can use. If I can get it to load, there we go. Tons of shapes. This would make a pretty one too. You could use this one to do what we're about to do tonight. I'm getting close. I have to be getting close. Where is it? Oh, no. Don't do that to me, Design Space. It doesn't want to load all my images. There we go. I think it just has to catch up. No. Okay. Let me go to cartridges. And let's look up paper lace. 2 words, paper lace. There we go. Which one is it on? I think it's this one. Well, it's just wanting to be a booger tonight. There it is. So this is the image that I used. Flourish M3D24F, in case you guys want to play along. So I'm going to insert that. So now we have everything that I used. The first thing I'm going to do is to duplicate that a couple of times because I do use a couple of them. I probably should wait till I size it, but that's okay. So I knew that I wanted my box to hold A2 cards. And an A2 card, I hope I got this right because I always get confused, is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Am I right, guys? 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So I knew that my box needed to be at least that big. So I'm going to go in here and unlock that square and make it 4.25 by 5.5. And then lock it back. So I know that that is my base, and I'm just going to duplicate it, but I want my box to be a little bit bigger because if I make it exact, the cards are going to bow when I put them in there. So I wanted to give it a little bit of height, so I made it 2 1/2. I'm sorry. Oops. Back up for a moment. I made it 4 1/2 by 6 is what I actually made it. Okay, and you're going to see here, this is what made it the 6 1/2 inches tall. So I have that, and I need another side for my box. I need this side. So now I've got that side. Just going to duplicate it, and I want the total box to be 6 1/2 inches tall. So I'm going to change that center square to 6.5. And I want the box to be 2 1/2 inches wide. That will hold a lot of cards and envelopes, unless you have a lot of embellishments or they're thicker cards. But of course, we have to do special envelopes for those. So that is how I started this box. Now, I knew that the base had to be, this is the bottom, the same width as my card. So I'm going to duplicate that, and I am going to rotate it 90 degrees so that I have the same width, but I need it to be 2 1/2 inches. So I'm going to unlock that and change that 6 inch to 2.5. And then I'm going to lock that back. And then I needed a front for the card But when I looked at everything just all together, I was at 11 point, and I haven't welded them, so it's given me a little extra space. It was at 11 and a half. So I knew automatically that the front of my box was not going to fit and cut out of this 12 by 12 sheet of paper. So my remedy for it was to duplicate that square, which we know had to be 2.5 inches tall. And I didn't decide on the height until I did my decorative side. So I just set that square to the side, just for the time being. So now I'm going to duplicate all of my pieces. This was my original base. I don't really need it anymore. This is my back, and this is the bottom, and then this is the side. So I'm just going to duplicate that and stick those over there. The next thing that I'm going to do, I'm really not even going to use this one. If you weren't doing any decorative side, you can make this the exact same height and go with it. You're done. But what I did, let me hide some of these out of the way so that you guys can see, because we're not really ready to put any of those together yet. This is going to be the side of the box. I need to stretch that, so I'm just going to get rid of these. Let me send that to the back. I need to stretch that to fit on there. But when I got the side like I wanted it, this tail was sticking out, and I didn't like it. So what I did is I just duplicated one of my squares, grabbed it up. I'm going to ungroup this. I'm going to get rid of that altogether, don't need it. And I'm going to duplicate that piece so I have a spare. Let me change the color so you guys can see here. So what I wanted was a total 6.5 inches tall. So I put them together, and I'm just over right there. So I'm just going to slide it down some more. And that's a little too low, so just going to go right about there. And that's 6.528. That's pretty good with me. I'm just going to live with that. So what I do is butt that up, and I'm going to slice it. Get rid of that. And so now it's going to fit. So just in case I need more, I'm going to duplicate that one that's already been sliced. I'm going to select those two pieces. You know what? I got rid of my, oh shoot. Got ahead of myself. Sorry. Let me back up, guys. I need that piece that I threw away. I'm just going to hit my undo till I get back, and then we'll repeat those steps. I got ahead of myself. Uh-oh, don't tell me that they're not going to let me undo. Come on. There it is. Need that. This is the piece that I need. So I'm just going to go ahead and slice this. Just so we can see. I'm going to get that in there. And I'm going to slice it. I'll probably have to slice both of them again, but that's okay. And slice. Just going to get rid of that. Get rid of this trash. Get rid of this trash. Remember, you can only slice 2 layers at a time. So I'm going to duplicate that so I know what I have here. And I am going to take these and slice it. And then I'm going to get rid of all of that trash. Looks kind of weird, doesn't it? I'm going to use the contour and get rid of that piece. And then we're going to bring this piece back in. And I may have to stretch it a little bit more to get it where I want it. That looks pretty good. There we go. Now I'm going to take those two and weld. And look, I got that big old piece in there. Don't like that. All you got to do is contour and contour that out and get that solid side. That's it. That's all you have to do to create that side. So the next thing I need to do is slice this off, which I didn't have to do that one. I did, but I didn't have to. Duplicate. Bring that right in and slice it. That didn't slice well. I didn't get it in there good. Did that undo? Yes, it did. I really like to make it the whole length of the card. That way if it slices off a tiny bit on the side, it will be okay. There we go. We have a nice smooth edge. That's what I mean. If it gets a tiny bit, then it's smooth all the way down. So now we have our box side. Don't really need that, but I do need to duplicate this. We're going to need that. And I'm going to duplicate it again, and we're going to flip one horizontally. And now we're ready to put the box together. So here is my center. Right here. You're just going to align all of those to the bottom, and you're going to weld. So now you have your box. Then you need the base piece. That's going to create the center. I hate that darkness there. Let me get that where we can see it. Is everybody following so far? You need extra help? You just stop or ask. So now I want to put that's going to be the base of the box when it's folded. So I'm going to align, and I'm going to center that horizontally. It needs to be right dead center. And I'm going to weld that. And this is just a rough draft, guys. As you can see, it's pretty close to what I have here. So now I need tabs, because when I fold this, if I use 80-pound cardstock instead of 100, I want it to be sturdy. So rather than put my tabs here and beefing up the sides, I decided to put my tabs here and here so that they would glue to the bottom and reinforce the bottom of the box, because that's very important. So what I did, just going to put my extra pieces over here. I always have pieces, and sometimes I use them, sometimes I don't. You never know. I want the big square. There we go. So I'm going to duplicate that. We can always throw out the trash. Oops, wrong one. Duplicate that. So I took my hexagon, and I kind of just eyeballed it, and I sliced it. And I got rid of all of this trash. And then I flipped it vertically and brought it to the left side, align left, and then I began to stretch it. And that's a little too deep. You don't want it to, when it's folded in, to be overlapped. So all I did was unlock it and shrink it down. And then I duplicated it, oops, and brought one to the other side. So all I'm going to do here is bring one in. I'm going to align left, and I'm going to weld. Then I'm going to take that one, align right, and weld. And you notice that it's changing color. Whatever color is on your bottom layer, that's the color when you weld it's going to change to. Just in case you guys are wondering why it does that, that's why it does that. If this color is the bottom layer, then that's the color it's going to remain. And if this is the bottom layer, which you can see it is, and I weld that on, it's going to change to this color. because that's your main layer, that's your bottom layer. So now we have that. So why did I do this box? Because for time purposes, it's easy for me just to change that square to a score. It doesn't matter if it scores at the top when it's making it. It's not going to hurt anything. And I've got my instant score lines. Okay, so all I have to do is attach. But I do need another one to go across the bottom, so I'm going to get a shape so that I can fold my tabs, grab another score line, and I'm going to rotate this one 90 degrees. I'm going to look at how wide my image is, which is 11.473, and that's how wide I'm going to make that. So I know that it's exact. I'm just going to bring it down to the corner where my box ends. I'm going to align right or left, doesn't matter, and attach. And then that piece of the box is finished. To get these pieces, which are your accent pieces that go behind it, the panels, remember I made a duplicate? All I did was contour, hide the contour, and made it solid. But I didn't want it to be really huge in there when I went to make the box and bind up in the folds. So I took a square, I duplicated it, and just to give me some play, I just sliced a little teeny tiny piece off. And we're just going to toss that out. That's garbage. And then I just want to rotate that 90 degrees. You want to make sure you use your rotate tool so that it's straight and you're not slicing at an angle. Took a little tiny piece off the bottom so that I would have some wiggle room, because if it's butted all the way up down here at the bottom, it may overhang at the top. If you want that, go for it. That's okay. Whatever it is that you want. So I'm going to slice a tiny bit off the bottom, because you're not going to see that inside the box anyway. So now this piece will fit in there, and you see it's inside the score lines so that we know that it will line up perfectly. Range, I can send that to the back and you can see that it's going to line up. But I need one for the other side, so I need to duplicate it. This is very important, guys, when you're doing something like this with a panel on a cutout. You must, in your design, flip that horizontally so that it fits back there. Does anybody know why? If you know why, let me know, and I'll come back to it in just a moment and tell you why, if nobody knows. Now this is our front of the box, and the way that I came up with that, if you see this right here, this is the front of the box, and I know that it needs to be 2.5 inches wide, so I've got that, but I need that height, that same exact height, so that when it folds up, this meets and goes straight across. Okay, so all I did was unlock it and size it, but I want to make sure it stays at 2.5. So once I got the height, I'm just going to lock that in. And so this is going to be here when we put this box together. But in order to put it together, I need a tab here to put on. So I did that. Very close, Pat, to not only to make sure they match, but what if you cut it out of double-sided paper or even single-sided paper? What if your paper is printed on one side and white on the other? If you don't flip it, guess what? Your two sides aren't going to match. One side's going to be to the inside. So you always, when you've got a cutout like this and they're going different directions, you want to make sure that you have one going each way so that when they cut on your mat, they cut. It doesn't matter if it cuts this way or cuts this way, but if it's patterned paper or double-sided paper, you don't want this to come up one color and this to come up another color. And that's what will happen with double-sided paper or a printed paper with a design that's white on the back. So that's why you want to make sure you flip one horizontally. Good going, Pat. That was close. So now I have this, and I need a tab to glue it here, but I also need a tab for it to glue to the sides of my box here. So all I did again, and I'm basically done with these squares. I'm going to keep one, which is this one. I'm going to duplicate that. Well, I say I am. There it goes. And I am going to change that to score. So I already have my score lines for this piece when I'm done. And I'm just going to get rid of that. And now I'm going to take that octagon, and like I said, you can use an octagon, hexagon, either one. You see that I used both. I'm going to slice it. That's the only piece I want. I can get rid of all of this trash. And now I'm going to need that to be duplicated. I am going to make one the same width, which is 2.5 inches wide. That's all I need. And it doesn't matter how tall it is as long as it's not really deep. I'm going to align, center it horizontally, and weld. Oops, no, I'm not. I forgot. I need to, before I weld that, I need to know what my measurements are for the side. I don't know why my undo is so weird tonight. There we go. So now this square, well, I could have used my score. I'm so silly. It is 3.648. So I need to rotate that 90 degrees and change the height to 3.648. There we go. So I can get these two and I can weld. I'm going to bring that one in. I'm going to duplicate it, flip it horizontal. I'm going to align bottom. And I'm going to weld that. I'm just going to scoot that in. Align the bottom and weld. And now let's just change it to the same color as the box. Here's my score. I'm going to arrange and move that to the front, which was the square that I saved. I'm going to align, center it horizontally, and let's just line it up with the bottom and attach. And guys, you just designed a box. So that's how easy it is to create these boxes and file boxes. You just have to go in and play and let your mind think and say, okay, if this is going to go here, I'm going to need some tabs to glue it to these sides up here. So you need to make sure that you pay attention and get all your tabs where they need to be. But we created this totally from one image and some shapes that were free. How cool is that? So let's go over and put one together now that you know how to make it. And this is the box that we designed. And again, we didn't do the card because the card is ready-made in Design Space, guys. And this is the card. All I did was embellish it with some Nuvo drops, and I'm going to show you guys that. Here's your dividers. And yeah, I had a miscut, so one of mine is white rather than the other. And we just decorated those up to go inside. And then you can put your cards, the A2 cards in there, your envelopes in there. They all fit. So here's the card that's in there in Design Space, and I believe that was paper lace. Let me just refresh this and reload it so it brings it back to its original state. Hi, Heather. Hey, Elaine. Elaine snuck in over here. This card, guys, in case you want it, it's in the file too if you have it, but if you're just watching and you just want the card, it's the Flourish card, and it has the envelope with it. So all I did was get my glue, and I had it all ready. Now I'm using Basil cardstock, and I will give you guys the colors here in just a second. But I'm just going to glue up all these little areas. You don't want anything lifting. And then you're just going to line that up on the base. You're going to fold your base down the score line just like you would any other card. And theirs goes all the way across the back and lines up on the front. And the paper that I used, some of you, I'm doing this one a little bit different, guys, and I'll tell you why. Because I messed up and I didn't have any more of the paper that I used on the original box, which was Basil, and it was 100 pound. The white marbled paper that I used here is, oh shoot, Marshmallow Marble. And I got it at Joann's. The number on it is 300476, in case you guys need that if you're ordering online. And the teal that I used was number 300478, and it's Robin's Egg Marble. And then what I used for the card envelope was Basil 80 pound instead of 100, number 300923, and it is Whirlpool. So those are the colors that I used on the box that you saw in the photos. What I'm using here is also Basil. The cardstock is white for the envelope, is just Avalanche, which is their white cardstock. And this blue Swiss dot is, and I got this because it looked to me like denim. And it's 80 pound. It feels like 80 pound. It might be 100. No, it's 80 pound. 303199, and it is Night Water. N-I-G-H-T, not night like a nobleman there. And for your envelope, you're just going to go across the bottom. You're going to fold all the scores in. Or if you're facing out, then you're going to fold them away from you. You're just going to glue those tabs and fold up the bottom. Oops. I just dropped my bone folder. There we go. And I just like to give it a good rub. I'm using art glitter glue. And then our envelope is done. And the card is done except for embellishing, and we're going to get to that in a minute. And I did this card this way because I wanted it to look like denim. I also, you see this burlap, guys? I got this at Joann's. And it's really cool. It's good and thick. It's burlap, but it's got a paper back. And right now, this week, it's on sale, 50% off. So I got this for like $5.40. You get 8 sheets. And it has the patterns on the back to make that burlap sunflower. How cool is that? I may put that in Design Space and make us a template for it. So if you want to use some other materials, you can. Hey, Alan. So I wanted to go with that, and I don't know if this is going to glue or if I'm going to need hot glue, but we're going to try it. So if it's a fail, it's a fail. So I'm just going to probably be easier for me to line that up and put it on now. No, I'm not. I didn't do it that way before. So you've got your little bottom here that we made, and you saw how we made that. You're going to fold that up, and then you're going to fold the sides in. And I don't know, I went ahead with this because I like to use 100-pound for any boxes I do. Any of you guys that have been following me, you know that. And I know this is kind of thin for a box, but the type box it is, I thought it would be okay, especially using this as thick and heavy as it is. And I did use my rotary blade on the maker to cut that. So if you have an Explorer machine, you may want to cut it with the burlap down and cut the paper and then trim it with the scissors to cut it all the way through, rather than making your Explorer Air try to cut through that as thick as it is. And you're just going to fold your tabs in. And again, any of you guys who are not Patreon supporters, you can get that file already made up if you don't want to make it by supporting me on Kofi. There should be a place to click there on the screen. I am not 100% positive of that. And then you will have access to it. Or you can go to kofi.com/April and you can get it there as well. So you're just going to fold that in and make sure that you line up. Keep it perfectly straight. Just work one side at a time. You can glue both sides, but you want to make sure that you stay in line. And if you want to glue that little piece on before you do this, you can. It doesn't really matter. You can do it both ways. And that's this piece. You can put it on first or like I am now. Totally up to you. I think I put it on first with the other one. Fold all your tabs. And then you're just going to start with the bottom one. It will probably be easier to line it up if you do it first. It doesn't want to go in there this way. There we go. Just wasn't stuck yet. And then you're going to do the sides. I got off a little bit right there. It's going to be okay though. Make sure you keep yours in line. I got it off just slightly right there. I think I can fix it. And just go in and press them all down. Make sure they're all stuck well. I'm going to give that a second to dry before I start pulling on those. And here's my label for the front. And I'm just going to glue that right on top of the burlap. I had all intentions, y'all probably can't see it very well, cards is written on here. I had all intentions of doing it in white with my foil quill, and I ran out of time, so it didn't get done that way. But I've got the white pearl with my foil quill, the white pearl foil. And then that's just going to go right on the front. And this is paper backed. And it looks like the art glitter glue is holding it pretty good. Give that a second to dry. And then you have your dividers. And I, like a ding-dong, cut these out of the wrong color. They're supposed to be a contrasting color, guys. Oh well. Like this. Okay. So I'm going to have to recut my tabs. I'm not going to glue them on here. But all you're going to do is fold those. And then you're just going to glue them halfway. You're just going to put glue on them. Let me just grab a spare piece of paper and show you guys, since those are waste anyway. If this is your divider card, you're just going to put glue on both sides. And then you're going to just line it up about halfway so that it sticks out slightly. And that way when you put it inside, you will have your card. I meant to cut these out of burlap, and I didn't. Those were supposed to be burlap, and then these were supposed to go on the burlap, which would have been really pretty. That's the way it was supposed to look. But oh well. I'll recut it. I got in a hurry. Wasn't paying attention. So the way that I did this, guys, is I went in and I just put the glue on this part, just so I wouldn't miss any of it. And then I went on the bottom of my panel and down the side. And I glued the wrong one. Ah! Make sure you got the right one in your hand when you're doing it. That's what I mean about, you can see this double side, if you don't flip one before you cut it, then it won't. You'll have one side paper and one side burlap. And I'm just going to lay it down and give it a little rub here. I would probably, I mean, art glitter glue is holding this, but most likely when I would probably hot glue this burlap myself, really. I just didn't bring that in here. And then we're going to glue on the other side. Hope you guys can see me here. A few extra dots on there since this one sat for a minute. We're just going to line those up, make sure that's lined up, and lay it down and just hold it in. Give it a minute to dry. The pink pearl. Oh yeah, these would be great anywhere. Yeah, for your office cards and things like that, Ellen. Be really cute. I just kind of like the denim and burlap look here. It's looking pretty neat. A little bit off. We're going to live with it. So, I believe Miss Susan wanted to know about Nuvo drops, because I did that on these, and a couple of people asked me how I lined all those little bitty pieces up and kept them straight. Well, I don't, because I'm like a bull in a china shop too. I can't do it. So I use Nuvo drops, guys. I'm just going to set my card to envelope and onto the side here. And I've been collecting mine for years, so don't think you have to run out and get every color under the sun in one night. You don't. Get colors that you like and just build your collection from there. And I think on in the Patreon side or either on the free SVGs, I have this chart so that you can do your Nuvo drops on there, but it changes. It changes all the time. They come out with new colors, but you can add to it and do whatever you need to do for your colors. I just started putting them on the top of my lids so that it was easier for me to see that way in the box. So I just put a drop on the lids now. But these are Nuvo drops, and on this box I used the glitter in Blue Lagoon. I'm sorry, no I didn't. That's the wrong one. I used Aquatic Mist is what I used. Aquatic Mist right here on the front. That's what these are in the glitter. And then on the sides I used Ivory Seashell, which is what these are. So let's pick out some colors to use so I can show you how to use them for this. This one should show up. That's about the color of the dots. These are the vintage. These are called Nuvo Vintage. You can tell that they're a little bit different. They come in all different things. So before I show you guys how to use them, let me just explain that. You have what are called crystal drops, which are just like solid colors, and some of them may be pearls. And they call those the crystal drops. Then you have jewel drops, and jewel drops, I hope you guys can see that, are kind of clear if I can get it to focus. They come up, this one might be better. They come out kind of clear, like a clear glass bead is what they come up to be. And then you have your glitter, which is self-explanatory there. It has glitter in it. So instead of running out and trying to get pearls or enamel dots and all of that stuff that to keep on hand, I mean, I've had some of these 3 years or better. So they will last you a long time. And I have some that are my favorite colors, and I probably used them on everything for the last 3 years, and I still have half a bottle of them. Let me see if I can find my Jubilee. Where is it? That's my silver. But they will last you a long, 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 long time. Trust me. Here it is. This is one of my favorites, and I've been using that 2 or 3 years when it first came out. And that's all I've used. So, and I use that a lot at Christmas time. That one is the Honey Gold. That one might be the one that just came out, but I use it a lot. Then you have your glow in the dark, and yes, they do glow in the dark. They have 4 colors of the glow in the dark, and the yellow, the pink, the green, and the blue. And you have a totally clear. There's a totally clear one. Dries absolutely clear, like Glossy Accents. Except Glossy Accents, I found yellows. This does not. Then you have your vintage, which we have here. It's in a square bottle. And these are in like vintage colors. There's about 6 or 7 colors of those. And then you have your Dream Drops. And Dream Drops are in like a diamond-shaped bottle. And they change color on dark cardstock. I'll just show you. This is the Love Potion, and it's pink, and you can smear them and give that iridescent look. These have like an iridescent on them, but you see how that is on the white cardstock. And I'm going to do it on the black, and it will change color. And there are, I think, 6 colors of the Dream Drops for now. But you can see that that pink went to blue. It turned blue on the dark cardstock. So you get a couple of looks out of the Dream Drops, but those are the exact same drops with two different looks. Yeah, it takes a couple of years to build them up because they're not really expensive, guys. You can find them on sale all the time. But when they're first brand new, sometimes you can pay, and some of the bigger bottles, like some of them, I think Jubilee is one of the colors that only comes in a large bottle. It's $7 a bottle, but it's a large bottle. I mean, it's big. So it's like 3 times the size. Hey, Ann, that's okay. And then the brand new one this year are Stone Drops. And these have a rough texture to them, and they feel like stone. They're really cool. They're glittery, but they're not. I mean, they're kind of hard to explain, but they have like a matte finish stone, so they give your cards a different kind of texture. And I'm liking them. I haven't been using a lot of them yet, but I'm working on working them into my cards. And I think there are 9 colors total, but one is an exclusive. You have to be, this one came in it just came out, it came in the tonic craft box. So if you subscribe to that, then you got that one. So those are what they do. And some of you may be familiar with liquid pearls or stickles. They're almost the same thing, except I found that stickles, that's why I stopped collecting them, and the enamel accents, they flatten out. They go flat. And your Nuvo drops don't do that. They hold their shape. So that's the difference and why I like the Nuvo drops so much. So let's go ahead and decorate this one up. I think I'll use that, and I don't know. That's kind of a burlap color. It's close. Oh, here we go. There we go. We'll use these two. So for this, with this cardstock, I am using Caramel Latte, and that's a gloss crystal drop, and a vintage drops in Bonnie Blue. And so on the burlap, I'm going to use the blue, and all I'm doing is holding it straight down and doing a drop, and you can practice on paper, and then doing a larger drop, and then going back to a smaller drop. And if you got a little tail on there, it should drop itself down. And I'm just doing 3 drops in these little open areas of this flower. They take about 30 minutes to dry, depending on how thick you get them, how big your dots are. And I'll do some more on the front here with the latte one. I'll go ahead and do it. You want to make sure one side dries before you flip it over, because gravity. And I know those aren't even because I usually stand up over it and do it, but you guys get the gist of it. And you definitely don't want to flip it over and do the other side yet. So with the card, you might be able to see it a little bit easier on here. All I did was go with the green on the other card. I just went beside the open holes here and just dropped a few. Use them like you want. Play with them. And I'll put a few on my envelope. These vintage drops seem a little thick to me. So you always want to test them on paper before you start putting them on your actual project, so that if it gives a poof of air, you don't ruin your project. So I usually try to make sure it's coming out pretty good. And then I filled the holes with my other accent color. You can make them in shapes as big or as little as you want. And Tonic, also the maker of Nuvo, I don't know if Tonic makes Nuvo drops or not. I have to look that up. I think they do. Tonic has dies that do little bitty indentations so that you can follow along with your drops and add them to your designs that way. They have several dies that you can use your drops with. And that's all there is to using them. Just give it about 30 minutes to dry and you're good to go. Yes, you can get them from scrapbook.com, from Blitsy, and from Amazon. There are links in the description below for all of them, and Tonic. Tonic is there too. So check the price, because sometimes they have sales on them, and you never know which one is going to have the lowest sale. And check the shipping too, because sometimes it might be better to pay the higher price for the Nuvo drops and save on the shipping. So just work it out, make sure that you get the best deal. But those 4 places are the best places to get them. Tonic, scrapbook.com, Blitsy, and Amazon. And all 4 links are below, and it says get your Nuvo drops here. Okay, somebody unsubscribe and subscribe so that I can see if my overlay works. Anybody. Oh, thanks, Catherine. We did 2 different types. This is what it comes out to be. Somebody who's not subscribed, hit the subscribe button, please. I want to see it. So, did everybody understand how to make the box and understand Nuvo drops, designing? Yay, it worked. Thank you, Kathy. So pretty. You better not unsub, Jamie. It's working. That's all it's finally working. Yay. So, yours didn't pop up yet, Jamie. It probably will. I know it's working now. There it goes. Yay, Jamie. Jamie subscribed. Thank you guys for helping me test that. I appreciate it. All right. If nobody has any questions, if you do, remember, come on over to the group. Don't hesitate to ask any questions. We're here to help you. Thank you, moderators. Thank you, patrons. Thank you, any new Kofi subscribers that I got. Totally appreciate you all. Okay, looks like everybody is good. I just wanted to check the chat. Again, holidays. Let me just pull this up really quick. The 27th, the Monday, is Memorial Day. We will not be doing a live on Monday. I am going to shoot for Tuesday to make that one up for you guys, but it could be Wednesday. It will be sometime during that week. Saturday, is going to be Bonnie's birthday. Bonnie Brandes, happy birthday. That is usually when we do our Pinteresting projects. So Pinteresting projects, being that that is a holiday weekend, because I know everybody tries to go out of town on Friday, I am also trying myself to go out of town Friday. I am going to try to do a live either Wednesday or Thursday this week with Pinteresting projects to make up for that one. So in the next 2 to 3 days, if I can finish that file, we will be doing Pinteresting projects on, I'm going to say the 22nd Wednesday, but it could be bumped out to the 23rd. Hey, Deb. Bye, Heather. Have a great night. So, let's just remember, Pinteresting projects is coming during a holiday weekend where everybody goes to the pool and to the lake and to the beaches and cookouts and all of that stuff. So to make up for that, we're going to bump it forward. And Memorial Day, which is actually Monday, we're going to bump it out. So you guys are still going to get all your lives. They're just going to be not going to be on Mondays and Saturdays this next 2 weeks, or the next 2 lives. But I will post it in announcements, guys. Don't forget to check announcements in the groups. That's where I always post them so that you know when the live is. Have a good night, Catherine. Thank you. You guys have a wonderful day, and I will catch you either Wednesday or Thursday, and I will post it in announcements. Thank you for joining me. See you guys later. Bye-bye.